Okay, so get this. AI can now make videos, like realistic ones, from just a couple of photos.
Really?
Yeah, we're talking 2 photos, and boom, you've got these people hugging, maybe even talking.
Wow.
It's wild, right? You think it's sci-fi, but it's real, happening now, and that's what we're diving into today, this tech they call Pollo AI.
I've heard of it.
It's all over the news, and we've got sources breaking it down. What it is, how it works, the big picture stuff, the impact it's having, could have, and then the stuff that makes you think, the ethics of it all.
Right. Got to consider that.
Exactly. So our goal today is to get you, the listener, to really grasp what this powerful AI is all about.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing the speed at which AI video generation has been advancing.
Yeah.
It's like we've gone way past just messing with pictures to the point where AI can just make up a video of people doing stuff and it looks real.
It's like scary real, right?
Yeah, and that's exactly what we're going to unpack today. The nuts and bolts, the good, the bad, the whole 9 yards of this tech.
We're diving deep, helping you understand this whole thing.
Exactly.
So first up, let's talk about how this AI is blurring the lines between what's real and what's not.
Okay.
Our sources, they're highlighting how AI can now animate a photo, make it move, and then take it a step further, actually generate a whole video that looks like real life, and it's convincing.
Yeah, I've seen some of the examples.
That example of creating a video from just 2 photos, like people interacting, that's mind-blowing. Huh?
Definitely. It's a big jump in what AI can do now.
It is. It really is. And it makes you think about, like, what's next?
Absolutely. AI is getting so good at, taking all this data and actually making sense of it, creating something new, something we always thought only humans could do.
That's a good point.
This whole thing with generating these super lifelike videos, it shows that AI is getting better and better at understanding us, how we act, how we look. It's kind of freaky.
It is, but it's also fascinating, right? So how does Pollo AI actually pull this off? It's got to be super complex.
Oh, it definitely is.
In our sources, they mention these deep learning algorithms, and they break it down like this. The AI analyzes the photos, looks at facial features, how people move, even tiny details.
Right, and it's not just looking at a few photos. It's been trained on massive amounts of data, like tons of images and videos, so it learns how we express ourselves, how we move, all the nuances.
It's like it studies us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then they use these things called GANs, generative adversarial networks. It sounds complicated, but it's actually kind of cool.
So how do the GANs work?
Well, think of it like 2 AIs going head-to-head like a competition.
Okay.
One AI creates the video, and the other one's job is to figure out if it's fake. And they go back and forth, constantly trying to outsmart each other.
That's really interesting.
And this whole back and forth, that's how the AI learns to make the video look more and more real, like it's constantly improving.
It's refining itself.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of research now is going into making these GANs even better, like figuring out ways for them to learn from less data, making the process more efficient.
So this is where it gets really interesting. The impact, what this means for us.
Right.
Our sources, they point to examples we're already seeing. Things like virtual influencers, AI-generated art that's selling for tons of money, and then there's those deepfakes, where they make it look like a celebrity's doing or saying something they never did.
And it's only going to get more and more sophisticated.
Exactly, and that's where we need to talk about it now.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about the big question, what's next?
Okay.
Our sources are saying this could totally change how we make movies, TV shows, even video games.
Imagine creating a movie with actors who never actually met, all done virtually, or bring historical figures back to life on screen. Imagine the possibilities for education, for entertainment. It's crazy.
It is. It's exciting, but it's also a little unnerving, Like, what happens when anyone can create a video of anyone doing anything?
It's a huge question.
It is, and that's why our sources bring up these crucial ethical considerations.
Yeah, definitely.
They're asking you, the listener, to think about this. Who owns an AI-generated likeness? If someone creates a video of you using AI, is that your image? Do they have the right to do that?
Right, and how do we protect people from having their images used in ways they never agreed to? Especially when these videos can be so realistic that it's almost impossible to tell they're fake.
It's a real minefield.
We need to figure out the rules of the laws, the ethical guidelines. before this gets even further out of hand.
Absolutely, and that's where the idea of shared responsibility comes in.
Right.
Our sources are saying it's not just on one group to solve this.
Definitely not.
Tech companies, they have a role to play, maybe even governments, in terms of figuring out regulations, safeguards, so this tech isn't misused.
But it's also on us as individuals to be aware of what's possible, to be skeptical, to think critically about what we see online.
Especially with video, because it's so easy to believe what you see.
It is, and the bottom line is this: AI is not slowing down.
It's only getting more powerful.
Exactly. So we can't afford to bury our heads in the sand. We got to stay informed. We got to have these conversations.
So to wrap up our deep dive into Pollo AI and this whole world of AI video generation, what's the key takeaway here?
It's simple. This technology is here, and it's changing things fast.
It's blurring the lines between what's real and what's not.
And that presents us with both incredible opportunities and some really serious challenges.
Things we can't ignore.
Right. And ultimately, whether this is a good thing or a bad thing, a tool or a weapon, it depends on us, on how we choose to use it, on how we choose to shape its future.
On that note, here's something I think is super important to consider, something to think about after we're done here.
Okay, I'm listening.
You know how we were talking about digital ownership and who owns the rights to an AI-generated image?
Right.
Well, think about this. As AI makes it easier and easier to create these virtual versions of ourselves, what does it even mean to own your image, your identity in the digital world?
It's a really good question.
It's a question that doesn't have an easy answer, but it's one we all need to start thinking about.
Definitely.
So thank you for joining us today, for delving deep into this fascinating and frankly mind-blowing topic.
It's been a great discussion.
We hope you learned something new, and we hope this gets you thinking about the future of AI and what it means for all of us.
Absolutely. It's an exciting but also crucial time to be paying attention to all of this.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and stay curious.
Thanks for having me.
It's been a pleasure.